Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Jessica Marie, and we are back with another video. Okay, this one is top 20 scariest movies you probably haven't seen. Now, there might be someone here I have seen, because I watch all types of scary movies and all kind of movies, period, but definitely all types of scary movies from all ages. So let's see what they talking about here. Let's check it out.
What's really scary is that you haven't seen these fantastic films. Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 20 scariest horror movies you probably haven't seen.
I am gonna kill you.
He died, you die.
For this list, we're looking at amazing horror films that have flown under the mainstream radar.
Alice was reburied 2 days later on the 7th of June. But the question remained, who or what was in those photos?
Number 20, Piercing. If you've seen Nicolas Pesce's The Eyes of My Mother, you know his movies don't exactly make for a easy viewing. Piercing is no different.
Sorry, I'll keep it down.
You could still kill her.
Based on a book by Japanese novelist Ryu Murakami, it stars Christopher Abbott as Reed, a businessman who intends on taking the life of a working girl while staying in rented lodging. With a shocking opening that involves his own baby, the horror thriller only gets worse from there. It will certainly divide opinion, as it's definitely not for everyone, but it's impressively stylish, reminiscent of the slick Italian giallo horror films of the 70s. So, if you want a retro-style horror thriller, you could do a lot worse than Piercing. Number 19, Resolution. Justin Benson and Aaron Scott Moorhead are two of the most talented indie horror filmmakers working today, and their work remains criminally underappreciated. Their 2012 film Resolution is particularly great. It follows a graphic designer named Michael who receives a disturbing video from his best friend Chris. Worried about Chris's mental state, Michael travels to a remote cabin to rescue his delusional friend.
I mean, there are a lot of weird people out here. Okay, are you sure you don't know who shot that video?
No, I'm not sure.
It serves as a brilliant meta-commentary on the horror genre, and many critics have compared it favorably to The Cabin in the Woods, with some arguing it's even better. Both this film and its sort of sequel, The Endless, which stars Benson and Moorhead, are required viewing for horror fans.
Did you see that?
What?
That.
Number 18, The Ritual. Those looking for Blair Witch Project type scares could do a lot worse than The Ritual. This movie was released on Netflix back in 2018, although it failed to generate interest outside the die-hard horror community. It follows a group of friends led by the always incredible and underrated Rafe Spall, who are hunted through the woods by an unseen entity.
I woke up stark bollock naked in front of that thing, praying to it, and I'd love it if someone could explain that to me.
Like the Blair Witch Project, The Ritual strikes a delicate balance between psychological horror and physical scares, and the terror comes just as much from the men's diminishing trust and conflicts as it does from the visceral spooks. Add in the unrelentingly bleak atmosphere, and you have yourself another reason to never enter the woods. Number 17, Eden Lake. Tell us if you've heard this premise before. A young couple in a dangerously secluded area is stalked by a group of menacing psychos.
Yeah, that happens often.
It's the basis to many a slasher movie. But Eden Lake takes the tired concept and manages to make it fresh again thanks to its sheer and unrelenting brutality. This is not an easy film to watch. It is violent, it is bloody, and worst of all, it is realistic. Unlike most slashers that vie for shocks and gore, this one remains rooted in realism, and the results are just as emotional as they are disorienting. It requires a strong stomach, but those who can get through it will find a lot to like here.
No, just call the police! Call the police!
What are they? What are they to her?
Number 16, Creep. Don't be put off by the found footage style. Creep is legitimately, creepy.
This is no longer a business transaction, okay?
Okay.
This is a partnership, and this is a journey into the heart. And
This is creepy as heck.
Come with me.
Creep follows Aaron, a videographer who's hired by the dying Joseph to film a day in the life for his unborn son. While Joseph is eccentric and a little off, he is relatively harmless, until he isn't. creep is definitely a slow burn, but the ebb and flow of tension keeps viewers on their toes and questioning Joseph's motives and personality. Mark Duplass somehow manages to imbue Joseph with humanity while also creeping us the heck out. And it's amazing to see him effortlessly switch between moments of poignant tenderness and sinister depravity.
Are you gonna let me go?
Oh my God.
Why are you doing this to me?
Number 15, Eyes
Jeez.
Without a Face. Eyes Without a Face is rarely discussed, which is a shame, seeing as how it's one of the most beautiful horror movies of all time. Yeah, we said beautiful. The film was initially met with hostile reviews, as critics thought that a genre film was beneath esteemed documentary filmmaker Georges Franju. However, it underwent a critical reevaluation upon re-release, and is now considered a poetic, surreal, and fairy tale-esque masterpiece. It influenced a generation of filmmakers, from John Woo to John Carpenter, who used this movie as inspiration to create the iconic Michael Myers mask. It's not your standard horror film by any means, but it is haunting and emotionally stirring. Number 14,
Okay.
Death Dream. Also known as Dead of Night,
Looks
Death Dream
like
was
very
directed by
good.
Bob Clark, the same man behind the wildly influential slasher movie Black Christmas. Also, the comedy A Christmas Story. He seems to have very mixed feelings about Christmas. Death Dream was inspired by the
I
famous
feel like
short
I've
story The
seen
Monkey's
this
Paw,
before,
which
but
also
maybe
involves
not.
a mother's wish that her dead son return to her. Although the wish is granted, it's not exactly what the family had in mind. The movie is a slow-burning chiller that wonderfully utilizes the zombie genre as an allegory for war and the problems that shell-shocked veterans have with reintegration. It's an unusually smart horror movie that deserves more recognition within the canon.
You killed that truck driver. Died for you, Doc. Why shouldn't you return the favor?
Number 13, Bone Tomahawk. For a movie so jam-packed with incredible actors, Bone Tomahawk is painfully ignored.
I'm not sulking, I'm sour.
Don't dodge.
So what do you want me to say?
None.
Name's up.
Starring Kurt Russell, Patrick Wilson, Richard Jenkins, and Matthew Fox, the movie is a deft blend of Western and horror.
Jeez, what the heck
The cast
is that?
delivers fantastic performances, and the film balances slow-paced, character-driven work with raw, visceral thrills.
If you want to question my moral, do it later.
And how visceral they are. The gore and makeup work in this movie are unbelievable, and there's one scene in particular that will remain burned into your memory for years to come. Whether you want to watch a unique Western with great dialogue, or witness an unsettling gore-filled
I like a
horror,
good
Bone
Western, I'll
Tomahawk
tell you
is
that.
your movie. Number 12, Carnival of Souls. Carnival
Yes,
of Souls is
I've
certainly an
seen this.
acquired taste,
It's
but
good.
those feeling daring and experimental will be rewarded with one of the most gloriously atmospheric horror movies of all time. It was shot on a meager budget of $33,000, but what director Herc Harvey does with that money is frankly amazing.
That's the whole story. He's been following me, that's all there is to it.
It isn't that simple, though, is it?
The movie is perhaps most well known for its striking cinematography and ghastly visuals, as it makes even the most ordinary of areas and situations seem ripped from a nightmare.
Don't close the way! Wait! Let me in! You gotta let me in! I gotta get on that train, I gotta get away from here! Please!
There are no cheap jump scares, no horrifying acts of violence, and no scary monsters. It's just a creepy art house movie interested in bewildering its viewers, and it succeeds in spectacular fashion. Number 11, Pontypool. Pontypool is a very different sort of zombie flick.
We have an exclusive live report from Ken Loney in the Sunshine Chopper.
It follows the crew of a radio station in real-life Pontypool, Ontario, Canada, who learn of an apocalyptic virus from their helicopter reporter and eerie audio transmissions.
There's definitely fatalities here. Down there, people have just died, Grant. I don't know what the hell has just happened.
The entire movie takes place within the radio station, so we never actually see the chaos outside. But in some ways, that's even scarier.
Don't move and you just stay there and we're gonna...
Some of them are naked and dogs.
Many great horror movies get by on terrifying viewers with their own imaginations, and Pontypool is no different. It's also highly unique within the genre, as the virus is transmitted through specific words rather than bites. It's a little out there, but it all plays into the movie's theme about the meaning and power of words.
Please avoid contact with close family members and refrain from the following. All terms of endearment.
Sydney. Number 10. The Autopsy of Jane Doe.
Some things you can't unsee.
The premise is relatively simple. A father-son coroner team is tasked with performing an autopsy on a mysterious Jane Doe found at the scene of a multiple homicide. But as they begin to unravel the mysteries surrounding the body, the duo is plagued with horrific instances of supernatural phenomena.
Those things we found inside, those were impossible. Whatever the hell happened in here, we are way past possible.
The movie is wonderfully written and directed, offering tantalizing mysteries, surprising answers, and some wickedly unpredictable scares. It is also proficiently acted by Emile Hirsch and esteemed character actor Brian Cox. Don't let that
They're
somewhat
both
banal
good
title
actors.
fool you. The Autopsy of Jane Doe is anything but boring. Number 9. Kill List. Kill List is an extravagant blending of genres, pulled off expertly by director Ben Wheatley.
You come with recommendations.
Well earned.
It begins as a crime thriller, as an ex-British soldier turned professional hitman is given a kill list by a mysterious shadow client.
Thank you.
But as the story progresses, it veers deeper and deeper into disturbing and visceral horror akin to a fever dream. Critics have compared the movie to the Blair Witch Project and The Wicker Man. Despite its obvious
Wicker Man
influences,
is good.
Kill List is unlike any horror movie you've ever seen, and it will leave you genuinely disturbed and emotional. That much we can guarantee. Number 8. Alice, Sweet Alice. Alice, Sweet Alice is another movie that is not easy to watch. It tells the story of young Alice, a troubled child who's suspected of murdering her younger sister on the day of her first communion.
Go with me! He's dead! Let's go!
So, right off the bat, you have the murder of a child during an important religious ceremony. Needless to say, the movie was met with some controversy.
The dead have ways. The dead don't rest easy.
The heck is he
With
doing?
its
all
gut-wrenching
upon the
premise,
child?
Alice, Sweet Alice is a solid horror mystery thriller concoction that helped usher in the slasher genre. Unlike many slashers, this movie showed surprising filmmaking craft, with an eerie score, flashy cinematography, and a solid lead performance from Paula Shepherd. Number 7. Inside. This French horror thriller is not for the faint of heart. It's violent, disturbing, and gory, but also darkly gripping.
J'ai appelé les flics. Dégagez maintenant, ils sont là dans 5 minutes.
Alison Paradis stars as Sarah, an expectant mother who's grieving the recent death of her husband. She becomes the victim of a brutal home invasion by an attacker who wants to abduct her unborn fetus. Yeah, you can imagine now why this movie's so upsetting. Inside is filled with horrific violence, all shown in unimaginably graphic detail. While
I think
dramatic
I've
and
seen this in like a
it's
remake.
also far above the
Seems
usual
like the same
grindhouse fare.
story.
Stylish, impeccably acted, and
Yeah,
superbly
I think
paced
I've
and
seen this
edited.
remade. I
Inside
forgot
is
the
a
name of
grindhouse
it.
movie made with artistry.
Ah oui, je ne sais pas. Peut-être qu'elle veut agrandir ou nettoyer des éléments.
Number 6. The Haunting. Please do not judge The Haunting on that horrendous 1999 remake with Liam Neeson and Catherine Zeta-Jones. Forget that exists and watch the 1963 original instead.
I hope this is what I've been waiting for all my life.
This movie was adapted from Shirley Jackson's novel The Haunting of Hill House, which is often regarded as the greatest haunted house novel ever written. And while the Netflix series was certainly great, it wasn't a faithful adaptation of the story. The movie is, and it is brilliant. Like the novel, it serves as both a chilling haunted house yarn and a frightening character study, which is aided by Julie Harris's tremendous performance as the unhinged Eleanor. The Haunting may be the scariest, most psychological, and most stylish ghost movie ever made.
I will not look back because then they will know what I'm thinking.
Eleanor, turn around and come down.
Number 5. The Invitation. The Invitation is a dinner party thriller first and foremost.
This
You
is
know how it
good.
goes. Someone
This
is
is
invited to
very
dinner,
good.
the hosts are
Very
a little wacky,
creepy.
and tension slowly builds
Not
before
gonna
boiling over
spoil
into violence
anything,
and mayhem.
but it's a big twist.
And while the invitation follows this formula to a T, it is a very well-crafted piece of work, with a stellar performance by Logan Marshall Green.
No, something very dangerous is going on here, and nobody's talking about it. We're all just ignoring it because David brought out some good wine.
However, it's also a movie about the contrast between inner turmoil and outer appearances, and deals with some heavy themes such as loss, depression, and acceptance.
It's just, you don't think I know? I know. It's just that easy for you?
By mixing in complex character work with the more conventional thrills of the dinner party thriller, the invitation becomes greater than the sum of its parts. Number 4. Audition. The second Ryu Murakami adaptation on our list, Audition is just as depraved, if not more so. This Japanese horror film is now considered a cult classic, but its success came slowly. It first premiered at the Vancouver International Film Festival and gradually earned attention as it toured the festival circuit and was released on DVD. The film generated a strong response, with many critics lauding the movie's acting, wild shifts in tone, and climactic torture sequence. The latter is what most people seem to remember about the film, and for good reason. It's singularly shocking and gruesome, and the inspiration behind Eli Roth's splatter film, Hostel.
Oh, no, get away from me.
Number 3. Session 9. If you love the inherent creepiness of abandoned mental asylums, then Session 9 is your movie.
A lot of patients ended up in the streets when this place closed down. And some of them, they come back. I found a half a dozen squatting up there last spring.
It follows an asbestos cleaning crew that's tasked with cleansing an abandoned mental hospital. The movie was shot at the real Danvers State Hospital, lending it a creepy sense of authenticity. You can practically feel the hospital's history through the screen.
It cut her up, Doc.
These hospitals are creepy.
It cut her up real bad.
The movie's been praised for its foreboding atmosphere, and its style and tone have been favorably compared to Stanley Kubrick's masterpiece, The Shining. By relying on psychological tension over jump scares or gore, Session 9 truly gets under your skin and into your head.
You gotta wake up. You tell me where they are. Would you wake up? Tell me. Would you wake up?
Number 2. Possession. On the surface, Possession is about a young couple going through a divorce. The Berlin Wall is used as a metaphor for a crumbling marriage. And that's where the movie leaves conventional plots, characters, and symbolism behind. Directed by Polish filmmaker Andrzej Żuławski, Possession is like Dario Argento's Suspiria on acid. The acting is gleefully over the top, and the camera swoops and zags and zooms, refusing to remain static.
What can I do about it?
Nothing. Please.
And yes, there are monsters. It is an unapologetic filmmaking extravaganza, and it is glorious to behold. It's more of an emotional and sensory experience than a straightforward thriller, so your mileage may vary, but what an experience it is. I already have a few of these that I'm dying to check out, so hopefully we've added to your to-watch list as well. We've got a few more for you too, so let's look through the honorable mentions, and then we'll see the scariest horror movie you probably haven't seen. Cam, this stylish topical chiller will make you want to cover up your webcam.
How about 100,000 for me to make it explode? Oh, come on, guys. Isn't this fun?
Veronica, this chilling Spanish horror drama was inspired by a true story. God Told Me To, a cult classic about a detective tracking
I
down
don't know
a deadly
any
cult.
of these movies. I definitely got some movies to watch.
Martin, this non-zombie Romero flick also happened to be his personal favorite.
I follow them. I plan. I'm very careful. I have needles now. I can use them. I can put them to sleep.
Before we continue, be sure
Wow.
to subscribe to our channel
He's
and ring the
crazy.
bell to get notified about our latest
I've got
videos.
needles
You have
now.
the option to be notified for a case. Number 1, Terrifier. You may see the poster of Terrifier and laugh, but you know what they say about judging a book, or in this case, a movie by its cover. Terrifier follows a clown named Art who stalks and butchers people, and yes, that plot is ridiculously simple. But like all great slasher movies, The Craft elevates the elementary story. Terrifier is surprisingly well shot considering its minuscule budget. Art the Clown is a fantastic villain, and the kills are as bloody as a horror fan could want. It's a delirious throwback to campy 80s slashers, and it doesn't pretend to be anything more. At a time when slashers have given way to ghosts and ghouls and demons, Terrifier is a breath of old school fresh air.
Okay, this video was a little bit long, but I will say Terrifier, I have seen that maybe on Netflix or Hulu, possibly Shudder, because I do have a Shudder account, because why wouldn't I love this stuff. But a lot of these movies I haven't seen, so I got some movie watching to do. But tell me guys what you guys thought of these movies, what you thought of my reaction, and please let me know if there's any videos you would like me to react to for the future. This was really fun. I now have a few movies on the list to watch. Okay, so you guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like always, stay safe, stay blessed, and I will see you in the next one. Until next time, have a good one, y'all. Bye.